Welcome to Go Publish Yourself, the Author Spotlights. I'm Justine Bilo, the Author Acquisitions Manager for IngramSpark. We are amongst royalty today, everyone. We are joined by the queen of street literature herself, Miss Wahida Clark. Four-time New York Times bestselling author Wahida Clark has become one of the most sought-after street literature authors of this generation and is one of the only 4 authors to appear on the New York Times bestseller list. She is the only street lit author on the list to have also served time. Released from prison in June of 2007, Clark immediately signed to and catapulted Cash Money Content, the publishing arm from iconic record label Cash Money Records, home to multi-platinum hip-hop recording artists Nicki Minaj, Lil Wayne, and Drake. To date, she has released 14 successful novels. Her own publishing company, Wahida Clark Presents Publishing, is one of the fastest-growing independent publishing houses in the country. Her publishing company boasts 30 authors, 75-plus novels, and 10 series. Welcome, Wahida. We are so excited to have you on the show.
Hey, welcome, and thank you for having me. I am very excited to be here.
Oh, we are so excited to have you. Wahida is actually one of my oldest clients at work, and Wahida, I love you dearly. Thank you for coming on.
So we do have some history, Justine. So I'm honored.
I'm honored. So I have to say, Wahida, that you have one of the most unique stories I've ever heard about how you became an author. So I think we need to start at the very beginning of this one. So can you tell everyone how this all started?
Sure, I've told this story many times, but it's a humbling story, and it just reminds me of how blessed I am, because sometimes we are. You gotta excuse my voice is hoarse. Sometimes things happen in our lives, and we may cry because thinking it's bad for us when it's actually good for us. Sometimes things happen that's good for us, which are actually bad for us. But in my situation, I was working for this company in Atlanta. It was a sales company. I happened to be one of the top salespeople in the firm, only female in my department, and I was outselling all of the guys.
Of course you were.
I love sales and marketing, by the way. The company was under investigation, and I just happened to be the top salesperson, and I of course, they wanted me. But actually, they locked up everyone. It took us to court and what have you. Everyone pleaded. 8 or 9 of us pleaded not guilty. We took the case to trial, and we lost. So I ended up getting sentenced to 10.5 years in the federal prison system.
Wow.
For mail fraud, money laundering, and wire fraud. So of course I was like, at first, why on earth is me? Why me? Why do I have to go to prison? So anyway, I said, what can I do? I need money to take care of my kids. I need money when I step up out of here, because you got to check the box that you are a convicted felon. What am I going to do? It costs money to live in prison. Show me a sign. Do something. Shortly after that, I'm telling literally like days. I was sitting in the library. That was my job. I was the prison librarian. So 9 times out of 10, and also taught computer classes, but 9 times out of 10, when I opened up the library, 8 o'clock in the morning, I would be the only one in the library. So I would use this time to do my homework, do my studying, do my reading. And I just happened to pick up this magazine. It was the XXL, and it had a picture of an author. His name was Shannon Holmes, and it said that he was in prison, and he had written a book called Be More Careful. So I said, wow, this guy is in prison and he wrote a book. And it was talking about Baltimore and the drug trade and blah, blah, blah.
Oh, like The Wire.
Yes, right, exactly. So I'm like, wow, if he wrote a book and was in prison, I can write a book. I'm in prison. So I'm sitting there and I'm looking at all of the books on the bookshelves. Then I start visualizing my name, Wahida Clark, on all the spines of the book. And so that's when I said, you know what? I'm going to write me a book. Now, I never wrote before. I didn't know I could write. Shortly after that, a young lady, she's in the prison. And on the streets, her profession, she was an inmate, of course, but on the streets, her profession, she was a literary agent. And I didn't know Dorothy, but she had asked our camp administrator, which is another word for warden of the federal
Mm-hmm.
prison camp. She asked could she do a course on creative writing, do a creative writing course. So the warden approved it, and the sign up sheet went up on the wall. And of course, I was probably the first person who signed up for the course. Now I didn't know Dorothy at all, but I took her course. It was in creative writing, and then that just helped me get to writing. And she was giving me advice, and they're like, "Oh my gosh, you're motivated." She was like, "Focus and just keep on doing." So I started writing, and then once I started writing, I couldn't stop writing. So much so that by the time I did finish writing, I had 2 books, Thugs and the Women Who Love Them, and Every Thug Needs a Lady, because when I sent it out to get published, or to try to get someone to publish it,
Uh-huh.
the publisher who picked it up said, "This is too big, Wahida. You're going to have to cut this in half." And I was like, "No way am I cutting this stuff in half," because this was some
Yeah.
good stuff, in my opinion. So that's how I end up having Thugs and the Women Who Love Them. Every Thug Needs a Lady. I was the first one in this genre to do a
Amazing.
part 1 and a part 2. So that's
Amazing.
how I got to writing. That's my story of how I got to writing.
And you became a New York Times bestseller in prison, correct?
Girl, the plot thickens, Justine. The plot thickens. So after I took Dorothy's course, I got to writing. I graduated from her little course. I got a certificate issued from the prison. And then I started doing my research on getting a literary agent and getting published and blah blah blah. Start sending out query letters and submission letters. I was on got me a writer's market. I was on a roll. But look, during the time that I was writing the book, I didn't have a typewriter, so I was handwriting everything on yellow
Oh,
legal paper.
oh my
So I had to
God.
send. So one night, it's late at night. It's like 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning. I was reading the book because Dorothy said, whatever genre you're going to be writing in, you need to start reading those books. So I was reading this book by Carl Weber called Married Men, and the book was just so good. And then I got to the last page. I slammed it, slammed it shut. I was like, oh my gosh, this was so good. I said, I'm going to
Page
write this
turner.
guy. So, yes, it was a page turner. So he had his little address in there. So I said, hey, Carl, my name is Wahida Clark. I'm in prison. I'm such a huge fan. I really enjoyed this book. I enjoy all your stuff, and I just finished reading Married Men. I said, look, I just wrote a book, but I'm investigating print on demand companies and publishers. Could you give me some feedback? Now, I didn't think he was going to answer me back, but he had answered me back and said to send me the manuscript. So of course I
Oh,
called home to Keisha. I said, "Oh my gosh, Keisha, I got to send these pages home because he wants the manuscript, but I can't type it up." So she said, "Send it home." So I did that. Got it typed up. Got the publishing deal. Waiting patiently for the mail coming to look at my first copies of Thugs and the Women Who Love Them. They
oh,
came in the. They came to the prison. I'm a celebrity author inside the prison. Everybody's loving the books. And I had noticed that a lot of the girls who were in the hole, they had pen pals. Not one, not two, going to other, writing men in other prisons. They had 10, 11, 12, 20. They were sending out letters all the time. Call home, Keisha, make me some flyers of my book. Put the cover on there, the synopsis. And she did that, sent them to me. I start giving everyone who had pen pals a flyer and putting a note in there saying, hey, I'm Wahida Clark. I'm locked down in the feds. This is my first book. Support a sister. You're going to love it. So my flyer of my book was going through prisons throughout the country.
oh my
And
gosh.
since the book was good, everybody started buying my books. So I had part 1. I had part 2. I'm in Alderson, West Virginia. I'm getting fan mail. People start
Oh,
sending me and say, okay, this chick is in prison and wrote a book. I can do the same thing too. They start sending me manuscripts. So that's why I said, okay, I'm going to start my own publishing company. At that time, it was the Essence Magazine bestsellers list. It was Blackboard. It was still USA Today, of course. And it was a few other ones that I can't remember. But while I was in there, I hit all of those lists. I stayed on the Essence Magazine bestsellers list. But I was getting all this fan mail and
wow.
manuscripts. Next thing you know, Justine, they're calling me back to the lieutenant's office. Miss Clark, you cannot run a business while you are in our prison. So I get in trouble again. So, but look, while I was in the hole that first time, that's when I wrote Payback as a Mother, because the characters that was coming through that county jail wasn't only a hole for the federal prison camp, it was also a county jail. So you can imagine the type of people that come in and out the county
Oh, I'm
jail all
sure.
day, every day.
Some
Those were some
characters.
characters. So that was my inspiration to Payback as a Mother. By the time I left Alderson, that county jail, I had Payback as a Mother. So then
Wow.
while I'm in Alderson, I get in trouble again. So I lose my phone, I lose my email privilege, because they said I'm running a business in their facility. So I had to, each time I got in trouble, got everything taken away from me, I would write another book. So by the time I came home in 2007, I had 7 books already published, and I had 2 contracts. I had one with Hachette and one with Kensington. So I had 2 major
Wow.
publishing contracts. So
Crazy.
that's my story.
And
That's my
you
story.
also had like the pretty much the framework for your entire publishing company ready to go too, right?
There you go. There you go. And what put the finishing touches on the publishing company? Because you're in time. You got time to, when you're in prison, you have time to study. So of course I'm studying books on publishing and running the business. And I was look through magazines, seeing GoDaddy ads, saying, "Oh, I can't wait to use GoDaddy and can't wait to do this." Publishing, doing that kind of stuff. So I
Crazy.
came home, and the office, it was, my husband had the office for me. He had the family members holding it down. And so as soon as I came home, I was just to step right in and try my hand at publishing, putting all that book knowledge into some practice.
And
So that's
you've
basically my
done
story.
incredibly well at it.
I'm still hanging in here, getting better and learning. It's a learning process. You always got to innovate. Times have changed. Social media. We got the e-books, the print on demand. Times have changed, Justine. We got to
Yes.
come at it with a whole new game.
Yes, they have. And I mean, your
Yeah,
genre in and of itself is an interesting genre. And we always talk about how we think it's an underserved genre.
absolutely.
How do you think that like publishing urban lit kind is different than, publishing any other type of genre? And how do you think that, being independent in that genre is also different? Like, how does that
Mm-hmm.
change your mindset as a
Mm-hmm.
publisher?
Absolutely. Now, that the major publishing, I'm going to keep it real, the major publishing houses, they recognize opportunity. So when the genre first became popular, they snatched up the big name authors,
Mm-hmm.
or we were mediocre, and they made us even bigger with the
Mm-hmm.
partnership made us bigger. They snatched, so the genre was really flourishing, but it is undeserved. So now what we have to do, because the ebooks came on the scene, print on demand came on the scene, it just, the dynamics have changed. So even though the genre is there, we have to revamp it, and it's like we have to take our genre back, because like you said, it's undeserved. We have to have people realize and recognize that this is something big, and give
Mm.
the author celebrity status like the hip hop artists and other, stars. So we're
Yeah.
working on a project now to do just that. Actually, we just had a conference call early today at 1:30. We're putting that together right now, and we are very excited, and you're going to be one of the first that we tell
Ooh.
about it. But yeah, it's
Oh, I'm
about
excited.
bringing back the genre, and paperback. Our hashtag is paper bag book swag.
Ooh.
Okay.
I like it.
Mm-hmm. Yep. And we're taking the genre back, and we're getting ready to make it um, uh, popular again. And just like, because you see a lot of the trend right now is the 90s nostalgia, and
Yeah.
that genre, that was, you see what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
we're bringing it back, and we're excited. We're working on that right now.
Oh, that's very exciting. Very, very exciting. And
Hmm.
and what's your favorite part about indie publishing?
My favorite part is the ability to be as creative as you want. You're not, you don't have to do it no particular kind of way. So that's what I like. You can really stretch out. So that's, to me, there's really no excuse to not do um, good numbers, because if you can just figure out your niche and
Mm-hmm.
how to be creative, because it's all about customer acquisition and getting your message out, your book out in front of as many eyes as possible. So that's what I like about the creativity, where you can play with different campaigns and do different things and just see what works, and just have fun with it.
Yeah.
And you can just keep on. You don't have to forget it. Your stuff doesn't have to sit on the shelf or go on a backlist. You can just keep on revamping it, revising it, relaunching it, making it new again. Because every day a new reader is born. So,
yeah,
you can just keep on doing the same thing over and over again.
Oh,
so
totally.
that's what I like.
All right, Wahida. So usually I close with 3 questions about publishing and writing, but I feel like today we have to close with, something a little bit different, because you are a part of a really, really wonderful charity called Prodigal Sons and Daughters. And I think that our audience would like to know a little bit more about the wonderful work that you do with this charity. So do you mind telling our audience a little bit about your charity and the work that you do?
Not at all. Not at all. Prodigal Sons and Daughters was founded in 1989. And our mission is to provide support to all consumers in need of our redirection services. Our aim is to prevent incarceration and recidivism by all youth and adults and those who have encountered the criminal justice system. And we do that we have a 12-week mentorship training program that transforms the worst to first. So I love that saying, from worst to first.
That's great.
And then in our Orange location, we are having the ribbon cutting ceremony for Prodigal Sons and Daughters Behavior Health Care Services, which is our individualized service and treatment planning in the areas of behavioral health care, substance abuse services, legal, employment, consultation, housing, financial, and more. So we are very excited about that because of the mental health and, everybody being incarcerated, they call it post-traumatic incarcerated syndrome, something to that effect.
Yeah.
It's really an official term now. So we are excited about that and being able to treat the same population that we came from, because everybody in Prodigal Sons and Daughters, the majority of us, probably about 90%, have served time.
Wow, that's really great. Amazing. So the work that they do is really great. So please check them out. And also please check out Wahida's books. You have so many of them, but I mean, your Thug series is, legendary.
Thank you. It's
yeah.
a blessing.
And so please check out all of Wahida's books and all of the wonderful ones she publishes. But Wahida, thank you so much for being on the podcast with us today.
You got it. And have a good one, everybody. Thank you.
Thank you. And please tune in next time for the next episode of Go Publish Yourself. Thanks, everyone.
Hi, everyone. This is Robin Cutler, Director of IngramSpark. Thanks so much for tuning in to this special Spotlight feature episode where authors and publishers just like you share their experience on what's worked for them. We hope these episodes inspire you on your own publishing journey. And if you're ready to publish today, visit the IngramSpark website. For more tips on publishing like a pro, subscribe to our podcast and weekly blog, or check out our new free online self-publishing courses available in the brand new IngramSpark Academy. Thanks for joining us today, and talk to you soon.